Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana.
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashoda Nandana
Yamuna Tera Vanachari. Yamuna Tera Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva.
Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol,
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निते नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्री वासादि गौर भक्तवृंद एवरीवन हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 Krishna. So we'll do the Mangalacharan. Those of you who cannot who needs book, it is on page number 1 of Bhagavad Gita Mangalacharan, so you can follow along with me. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tamsta Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Visakhanvitam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye
Shrunuvatam Swakatha Krishna
Shruvatam Tatha Krishna
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridayantastho hi abhadrani
Dayantastu Bhadrani
Vidunoti suhatsatam
Vidunoti Suhatsatam
Nashtaprayesu abhadresu
Nashtaprayesu Abhadresu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki
Bhakti Bhavati Naistaki
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya cha
Devaki Nandanaya cha
Nanda Gopakumaraya
Nanda Gopakumara
Govindaya Namo Namaha
Govindaya Namo Namaha
Namaha Pankajanabhaya
Namaha Pankajanaya
Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajandraye. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for reciting after me. Welcome devotees to this Sunday feast program organized by ISKCON Stouffville. It's a little inclement weather outside, but still very, very grateful to each and every one of you for for taking the time and attending this wonderful program. We will be reciting today, discussing verse number 9.31, which is on page number 413 of this yellow cover book, hardcover book. Verse number 9.31. So please repeat after me. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma
Shipram bhavati dharmatma
sasvacchhanti nigacchati
Sasvachachanti
kaunteya pratijanihi
Kaunteya pratijani
name bhakta pranashyati.
Name bhakta pranashyati
Kshipram bhavati dharmatma
Shipram bhavati dharmatma
sasvacchhanti nigacchati
Sasvachanti
kaunteya pratijanihi
Kaunteya pratijani
name bhakta pranashyati.
Name bhakta pranashyati
Kshipram bhavati dharmatma
Shipram bhavati dharmatma
sasvachantim nigacchati
Sasvachantim pratijati
kaunteya pratijanihi
Kaunteya pratijani
name bhakta pranashyati.
Name bhakta pranashyati
Two Matajis, two Prabhus.
Kshipram bhavati dharmatma
Kshipram bhavati dharmatma sasvachantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Two Prabhus.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma
Kshipram bhavati dharmatma
Sasvachantim nigacchati
sasvachantim nigacchati
Kaunteya pratijanihi
kaunteya pratijanihi
Name bhakta pravanashyati
name bhakta pranashyati.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma
Kshipram bhavati dharmatma
Shashvachantim nigacchati
sasvachantim nigacchati
Kaunteya pratijanihi
kaunteya pratijanihi
Name bhaktya pranashyati
name bhakta pranashyati. Thank you so much. So transliteration is Kshipram, very soon. Bhavati, becomes. Dharmatma, righteous. Sasvat santim, lasting peace. Nigacchati, attains. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti. Pratijanihi, declare. Na, never. Me, my. Bhakta, devotee. Pranashyati, perishes. Please repeat after me the translation. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Once again, recite after me. He quickly becomes righteous
He quickly becomes righteous
and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Hari Bol. Anyone for the purport?
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Shri
Jai
Prabhupada.
Shri Prabhupada.
This should not be misunderstood. In the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. One who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. The question remains then, how can a person engaged in abominable activities, either by accident or by intention, be a pure devotee? This be raised. This miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to the devotional service of the Lord, have no good qualification. I will repeat that. Who never come to the devotional service of the Lord have no good qualifications. As it is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, generally a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. According to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, he has to undergo certain ritualistic process to purify himself. But here there is no such condition, because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee, due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
should be continued without stoppage. This will protect the devotee from all accidental fall downs. He will thus remain perpetually free from all material contamination.
Hare
Om
Krishna.
Tat Sat.
Thank you so much. Very nice. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Krupatamaham Vande Sri Gurudim Tarinam Paramananda Madam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyecha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Once again, thank you devotees to join today's Sunday Feast program organized by ISKCON Stouffville. Very, very grateful to each and every one of you. I am not qualified to speak anything or even occupy this Vyasasan, but with the causeless mercy of Guru and Gauranga, I am given this opportunity. Therefore, I will try to speak few words to please as a service to our Guru Maharaj. In the process, if there is any shortcomings or drawbacks, please forgive me. Also, seeking devotees' blessings who are present here, such that the right words are spoken in the right spirit, pleasing to Guru and Gauranga. Hari Bol. So we are in chapter 9. The title of the chapter 9 is The Most Confidential Knowledge, and it is the centermost chapter. And we know that, in a sandwich, the top bread and the bottom bread doesn't carry that much importance as much as the stuffing inside, because the sandwich is known by the stuffing it carries, and that is most valuable. So chapter 9 is absolutely in the center of the 18th chapter Bhagavad Gita. So there are equal number of chapters before and equal number of chapters after, exactly in between chapter 9, and therefore it is called the most confidential knowledge, which means we need to listen and understand, and not only listen and understand, if possible implement in our life every single word, every single instruction given in chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita. As such, all the chapters are equally important, but this is titled The Most Confidential Knowledge. So, chapter 9, the acronym is KING, K-I-N-G. And how is it divided? K stands for knowledge, which is verse number 1 and 1 to 3. It describes knowledge, and we'll not go there because we need to cover the other ones. I stands for inconceivable relationships, and these are covered in verses 4 to 10. N stands for non-worshippers, and we have studied that non-worshipper section, which is in the verse of 11 to 25. And G stands for glories of bhakti. That is where we are, verse number 26 to 34, and we are right in the middle of it. We are doing 9.31. So nothing but we are doing glories of bhakti. So let us start with the with the translation of 9.31, and then we can develop a context in which it is spoken. The translation goes, he, it starts with he. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. Who? He. He means there is some context in which it is spoken. That means we have to go back to immediate previous verse, which is 9.30. So person who is said in 9.30, it's a continuation of 9.30 is 9.31. That person becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. Let's go to 9.30, the one which was very nicely covered previous week. Apichet Suduracharo, very wonderful verse. Apichet Suduracharo bhajate mamananyapak sadureva samantavyas samyak gavyasito isa. It says, even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Very, very wonderful explanation of who can become righteous. And here it starts with that, even if one commits the most abominable action. You will say, Prabhu, wait a minute, wait a second, what are we talking here? Abominable action and Krishna consciousness don't go together. It's incompatible. What do you mean by he? And then 9.31 says that person, that means he. That person is a person who commits most abominable action. And then the qualification is, if that person is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly. Saintly meaning, sadhu, the worldly, the saintly person, because he is properly situated in his determination. And that is exactly where Prabhupada is starting the purport, that this should not be misunderstood. It's a logical question any person reading with attention will put forth. That how can a person committing abominable action become saintly or become dharmatma? How? It's impossible. It goes ill together. But Prabhupada explains very nicely. Prabhupada says in the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. Let us pause there. What is 7th chapter saying? 7.15. If you have got Bhagavad Gita, you can open 7.15. It says, Namam duskruti no mudha prapadyante naradhama mayaya pahakrita jnana asuram bhavam asrita. What does it mean? Translation says, those miscreants, I'm reading 7.15, those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. So basically, Prabhupada is saying that there are 4 kinds of miscreants. Means people who are mischievous. Here is was written 7th chapter, who are engaged in mischievous activities. Or miscreants means not following dharmic rules, going against the principles established in religion. Miscreants, the sinful people. So those miscreants, 7.15 says, who are grossly foolish. Number 1 is grossly foolish means mudha. Mudha is foolish. Namam duskritino mudha was grossly foolish. Who are lowest among mankind. Prapadyante naradhama. Naradhama means lowest among mankind. Whose knowledge is stolen by illusion. This is a very heavy word. Whose knowledge is stolen, kidnapped. That's called maya apaharta jnana. Apharat, apharan. Aparana, Gujarati Prabhu understand. Aparan kariyo. Apne kahe na aparan kariyo. Apaharta jnana. So maya apaharta jnana, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons. Asuram bhavam asrita. Asuram means demons. Bhavam asrita, who partake of the nature of atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Now these 4 kinds of people have got all the bad qualities which do not allow them to surrender to Krishna. And Krishna is saying that in 7.15. So let us go further on Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada says, one who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. How can a Naradhamma, how can a demoniac person, how can a person whose knowledge is kidnapped, aparata jnana, he can have any qualifications. So Prabhupada says, one who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. The question remains then, how can a person engage in abominable activities, either by accident or by intention, be a pure devotee? And what a logical question, because we cannot think of an abominable person who is performing abominable activities become dharmatma or saintly. It is incompatible. And Prabhupada is raising the same thing. This question may justly be raised. Prabhupada says, the miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, there is these 4 types of people who never come to the devotional service of the Lord, have no good qualifications, as is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so Prabhupada is referring to Srimad Bhagavatam. So I went to Srimad Bhagavatam to try and see what verse is that one. It is given in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.18.12, Canto 5, chapter number 18, verse number 12. The third line says, Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna. The whole sloka, yasyasti bhaktir bhagavata kinchana sarva gunes tatra samasite sura harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena sati dhavato bahi. What's the translation? Pay attention to the translation, very wonderful. All the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge and renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. That's perfect. On the other hand, here is where we need to pay attention. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. And that's what Prabhupada is referring. That those people who are having no qualifications. Why? Because they are engaged in abominable activities and they are not practicing Krishna consciousness. They are devoid of devotional service, which means they are not in Krishna consciousness and they are engaged in all kinds of material activities. They have got no good qualifications, no good qualities, and which is true. So let's proceed further. Prabhupada says in the purport, the miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to the devotional service of the Lord, have no good qualifications, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. We have seen that. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. Now, this is where the glory of bhakti starts. Prabhupada is bringing us to the glory of bhakti, that person, if he is still engaged in devotional service, which is composed of the 9 types of devotional service, as is stated in the Srimad. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. So, we know Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, etc. There are 9 processes of bhakti. And if someone is engaged in these 9 processes of bhakti, even one, all the 9, like Ambrish Maharaj, the best. Even one, and pick up any one, and if you are practicing that one, that's also enough. Say, for example, it starts with Shravanam. And what are we doing right now? Listening. Shravanam. So, Shravanam is the starting point of bhakti. First stage in the process of devotional service. And when we listen, the spiritual knowledge enters through our ears and goes to our heart. And what does that do in the heart? Cleanses the anarthas. And that's what Prabhupada says. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. And what are the material contaminations? What are the 6 anarthas? Can anybody tell me? One at a time. Sorry? Kama. Next. Krodha. Lobha. Matsara. Moha. Ahankara. So, Lagpei. Lagpei is the acronym. Lust. A. Anger. G. Greed. P, pride, E, envy, which is Matsara, and I for?
Ignorance.
No. Yeah, ignorance, but illusion.
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 In
Yeah,
this
yeah.
contact.
Yes, illusion, yes. So there are 6 anarthas, and Prabhus and Matajis. Because I am speaking here, speaking from this Vyasasana doesn't mean, or anybody at that, doesn't mean we don't have anarthas. Full of anarthas. All the 6 anarthas are fully present. Fully present. And what are we trying to do? We are trying to cleanse it by devotional service. And the first devotional service is Sravanam. And then what we are doing with chanting? Kirtanam. Vishnu Smaranam. We are trying to remember Krishna through constant chanting. So all these processes, either taken individually or collectively, if one is practicing, what will happen, Prabhupada says? The heart will be cleansed, because these anarthas are well situated in our heart. Very well situated, and they are not the product of yesterday. They are not the product of 1 year before. They are there since time immemorial. We don't know how many births we have taken and how many karmas we were involved in, wherein we are constantly getting grinded with this punarti jananam, punarti maranam, chatre sayanam. We are rotating in the 8.4 million species of life, and because of that we have got lots of karmas coming up to us, and we have got anarthas, and they are deep rooted. It is not so easy to remove anarthas, but it is possible. For sure it is possible, and that is guaranteed if we are doing devotional service, not today, maybe tomorrow, not tomorrow, maybe next week, next month, next year, next janma, it will go away, provided we hold on to the lotus feet of Krishna very tightly by doing what? Rendering devotional service. That is what Prabhupada is trying to tell by this line, that generally a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. And on that, from the heart, we just recited the Mangalacharan, right? Generally this Mangalacharan is for Srimad Bhagavatam, but I recite because we cover Bhagavatam also, so it's better to recite Mangalacharan of Bhagavatam. We recited Srunvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana Hridayantastohi Abhadrani Vidunoti Suhatsatam. What's the translation of that? That's exactly what Prabhupada is trying to tell in this purport. Translation is that Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment. In other words, translation says is cleansing the anarthas, what we spoke of, 6 anarthas, cleanses the desires for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his message, Sravanam, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So this absolutely fits into what Prabhupada is saying, that generally a devotee, Hare Krishna, generally a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. That's exactly what this Srungadam Sakata Krishna translation says. We go further. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Let's elaborate on this. Prabhupada says a person who is engaged in devotional service puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. As soon as, in Back to Godhead magazine, if somebody remembers, there's a title beneath the Back to Godhead magazine, that where there is light, there is no ignorance. The darkness of ignorance is something of that sort. It's a title, always printed, where there is knowledge, there is no darkness of ignorance.
There is light, there is no darkness.
There is no darkness of ignorance. So that is what Prabhupada is trying, that when we are doing devotional service, 1 or any 9 of them, we are essentially putting Sri Krishna into our heart. And that way, he puts the Supreme Personality of God within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Jahare Krishna nahi maya andhakara. There is a Chaitanya Charitamrita. nahi maya adhikara. Krishna Surya Saman, Maya. So wherever there is Krishna,
There's no
which is
Maya.
the light, there cannot be Maya, which is the darkness of ignorance. It is impossible. As soon as the first ray of sun rises, all the darkness dissipates, whether fog, whether it just dissipates. Why? Because where there is light, there cannot be darkness of ignorance. So that's what Prabhupada is trying to tell here. That he means who? He means who? The person dedicating himself to devotional service of the Lord. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Then, Prabhupada further describes the continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. Now, when we are chanting, I say it many times that in this Brahma Murta we are chanting, right? This chanting should be considered as our personal appointment, so to call personal appointment with Krishna face to face, one on one. And thereby we are chanting. So when we are chanting, we are trying to meditate on the Tribhanga form of Krishna or whatever we have decided, maybe lotus feet or maybe the eyebrows, whatever we are meditating. We are taking Krishna into our heart by chanting. Why? Because we are, and it says that Krishna's Naam, Roop, Gun, Leela. His name, paraphernalia, form and pastimes is none other than Krishna himself. So if we are chanting Krishna's name, Prabhupada says authentically that means Krishna is dancing on our tongue. And we are directly associating one on one with who? Krishna. Why? Because we are chanting his name constantly. Similarly, during the day as well, whenever we are doing some devotional service, we are trying to have Krishna situated in our heart, and which automatically cleans away. Wherever there is Krishna, there cannot be any darkness. It will automatically cleanse away all the anarthas what we have just described. Lust and anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion. Let's go further. And Chaitanya Bhagavat on this point, while we are on this point, Chaitanya Bhagavat says, that the most inauspicious thing is to forget Krishna. I repeat, Chaitanya Bhagavat says, the most inauspicious thing is to forget Krishna. In other words, most auspicious thing is to always remember Krishna. So that's Chaitanya Bhagavat. And then Prabhupada gives example, but we will come to that later. So let's proceed further. So Prabhupada says that continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. Obviously because anarthas are getting washed away. According to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself. Now, let's go back to the Vedas, what Prabhupada is trying to say. In Vedas, Veda means what? Knowledge. Fund of knowledge. Veda describes all types of knowledge, and Vedas are eternally existing, time immemorial, which means even this plane is flying, it was written in Veda. How can we hear celestial plane, flying? Ramachandra came in celestial plane to Ayodhya after winning Lanka war. So all these celestial planes, they were there. Why? Because it is there in Vedas. Then these modern planes are invented later on. So anything and everything you can think of is there in Vedas. Whether it is material knowledge or spiritual knowledge, it is there in Vedas. So Vedas is nothing but the fund of knowledge. And Prabhupada has started referring that according to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself. Let's take an example. We'll not go into depth of that. Vritrasura. We know Vritrasura story. How Vritrasura, he was a demon, but he was very, very pious, and he was kind of rendering devotional service from within, although in the form of demon. And then what happened? Indra had to kill him with the thunderbolt. But Vritrasura was, although demon, he was doing devotional service from within. Indra had to pay the price because he killed a devotee kind of, although in the form of demon. Indra did atonement. And then we all know that we'll not go in we have to cover a lot of things. But that is the atonement. Prabhupada is saying that in Vedas there is a section where, of course, karma kanda and everything is there, but there is a whole section where there is atonement, that if you do this, if you commit these mistakes, and mistakes happen with everybody, because three modes of material nature is constantly working on us. So everyone is liable to commit mistake, and one of the four defects we know is what? Liable to commit mistake, always under illusion, propensity to cheat, and imperfect senses. These four. So one of the prime defects of any human being, and we are born with it, is liable to commit mistakes. But then, having committed mistake, there is atonement. And atonement is described in Vedas. And that is what Prabhupada is referring. According to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself, which is true. But here there is no such condition. Here means what? Prabhupada is referring here. Which situation Prabhupada is referring?
One who is practicing 9 types.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol. One who is rendering devotional service. One or more types out of the 9 types of devotional service. If he is rendering, then Prabhupada is here in that situation. There is no such condition of going to Vedas and doing atonement, because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. And that is the greatest consolation one can find. I found a lot of comfort here. Every sloka gives us, that impetus to go closer to Krishna. Why? Because it is the essence of the purpose of our life. What's the purpose of our life? Go back to home, or to Krishna Prema, attain Krishna Prema. So, any step we take which brings us one step closer to Krishna, Krishna would love it. And we should take that step. Why? Because that is going towards attaining the purpose of life. And this devotional service is bringing us closer and closer to Krishna every single day. Now, we may not realize. You say, Prabhu, I have been chanting for 10 years. I've heard even brahmacharis and our acharya say, oh, we have been chanting for 25 years, still we don't have taste for it. We have heard, we have seen that. But it depends on how much karma you are carrying. It is being cleansed away. For example, when we have malaria, say it generally takes 3 weeks to cure it, 2 to 3 weeks. First day we take medicine, fever is still there. Second day we take medicine, fever is still. 1 week we take medicine, fever is still there. Same symptoms. And then we think, am I taking the correct tablets? Do I need to change the doctor? Something is wrong. 1 week, 7 days, and fever is not subsiding. 2 weeks, little difference, but still we doubt. This is where our mentality comes in. When we are chanting, now in that malaria example, does that mean that day 1, when we took tablets, medications, it didn't work? Does that mean that? Started working. We don't realize. At the end of 1 week, 7 doses have gone, 7 days worth of doses have gone. Still we have got fever. We don't realize, but it is working. But at the end of the 3 weeks, now we are completely cured. Now we can think retrospective, hindsight, that okay, on day 1 what I was thinking, probably I was wrong. Why? Because it was working without our knowledge. So it will work surely. The same way when we are rendering devotional service to Krishna, or when we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is working, it is cleansing, as Prabhupada said earlier. The anarthas located deep-rooted into our heart, but it's a slow process, and it is such a slow process that we don't realize. But, for example, if we are in Krishna conscious select for 10, 15, 20 years, if we think of 20 years before, what were our aptitudes? What were our likings? In which activities we were enjoying? Now we can conclude with proof that yes, I no longer enjoy those Hindi movies. I no longer enjoy those English movies. If there is kirtan, then I would be I would be more than happy to, same time I can dedicate to Kirtan, that will give me pleasure. This we can prove that yes, it is working, but very slow process. It's a slow process, but slowly but surely we are going one step closer to Krishna. And one day it will give us fruits. And that is what Prabhupada says, that it is working. But there is no such condition because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it is purifying without our knowledge. Let's proceed further. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare should be continued without stoppage. Very, very important instructions for all of us who many times get disheartened that why this thing happens to me, why am I not getting taste, why am I thinking myself to be mechanically chanting, but continue doing that because it is working without your knowledge at a very slow pace. Why slow pace? Because these anarthas are deep rooted within our heart. Not today, as I said, not yesterday, not this janma, time immemorial. They are deep rooted, and more we can think of that example where we abandon a house 10 years, 15 years, and then when we come back, what will we see? All the cobwebs, all the dust, all the dirt accumulated because nobody used it. Now when we start cleansing the dirt, what will happen? The dirt will in fact will come back on your face. You will want to run away. Does that mean that we should stop cleansing? If we stop cleansing at that stage, because the dust is now coming on it will never be cleaned. So continue cleaning, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, continue doing without stoppage, continue chanting, and one day will come when this building what you had abandoned will be perfectly clean. That is the same situation with us. When we chant Hare Krishna, start chanting, maybe 5 years, 10 years, it will work slowly but surely. And that's what Prabhupada is trying to hint at. This will protect a devotee, Prabhupada says, from all accidental fall downs. Now, fall downs are described here as two types, accidental and intentional. Accidental fall down is the subject matter of 9.31, not intentional. Intentional fall down is very, very dangerous, most abominable, and that's not the context here. He cannot become saintly person. In fact, he will be given punishment because he punardijanam, again and again he has to come back to square up the account. But accidental fall down, by who? By the person who is rendering devotional service. That's the subject matter, and that's what Prabhupada is saying, that this will protect a devotee from all accidental fall downs. And what will protect? Continuous chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, continuously rendering devotional service with love and affection will protect the devotees from accidental fall downs as well. He will thus remain perpetually free from all material contaminations. Why? Because when you are continuously chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is cleansing the 6 anarthas, and that will one day bring you out of the anartha nivritti stage. Now, most of us are stuck in anartha nivritti stage. We know, Adav Shraddha. There are 9 stages of Bhakti. Adav Shraddha, Bhajana Kriya, Sadhu Sangha. Anartha nivritti is the 4th stage. Our train is stuck. I don't know, our is a big word. My train is stuck at anartha nivritti. It's not going away. Why? Because we are in that process, but it will not be cleaned overnight. It might take years, it might take so many janmas, because as much as we have seen, more you have abandoned the house, more number of years, more it will take time to cleanse it. So same way is our situation, that it is getting clean, but it will take time, slowly but surely. Now, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj here quotes many wonderful, there are sayings, there are wonderful quotes by Radhanath Swami, and few of them I'll just say. In fact, before that, Prabhupada says, that when I was speaking of intentional versus accidental fall down. Intentional fall down, Prabhupada says that, this church, people go for confessing, right? every Saturday or Sunday, I don't know, one of the days they go to church and then they, Sunday, right? And then there's a box there, and then behind the box there is a priest sitting, and then well, he or she will confess, oh, I did, confess, they'll be confessing by heart, oh yeah, I did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. And then something they will say, and then, okay, now the priest might advise that, okay, you are pardoned, but do not do it again. What happens once Sunday is done? He goes back on Monday in the normal routine. Same thing he will repeat again. Prabhupada says, now this kind of confession is no confession at all. It doesn't lead you to anywhere. Because the condition was, do not repeat these mistakes again. That was the condition. But this person is, again, Monday to Saturday, he is in his daily routine and he does the same kind of thing, maybe different type, but abominable. Again he feels, oh, I'm a sinful person. He goes on to the priest, same. Again he confesses on Sunday. Same again next week. So what is the use? Prabhupada is condemning this. This type of confessions or mentality is not allowed in Krishna consciousness. And on that I will quote Radha Swami Maharaj. He says that a mistake is not a mistake if it is not repeated twice. I'll repeat it. Radha Swami Maharaj says, a mistake is not a mistake if it is not repeated twice. In other words, if one becomes alert not to commit the same mistake again, then that is not a mistake. And that's exactly 9.31 says, accidental fall down. Accidental fall down means it's not intentional, but it is accidental. But that person is rendering service. So many quotes Radha Swami Maharaj says. He says, true wisdom is the ability to transform challenges, curses into opportunities or blessings by altering our perspective. He says. One more, he says, our free will could convert a curse into a blessing or even a blessing into a curse. Our free will, because we have got that minute free will, which it depends on how we use it. To transform a crisis into an opportunity is true wisdom, is what Radha Swami Maharaj says. And then he says, real atonement involves coming to real knowledge. And for this, there is a standard process. Now, this is nectar of instruction, verse number 1, translation and purport. Nectar of instruction. It says, because the Vedas refer to atonement, right? So, I took up some of the verses from that. Real atonement involves coming to real knowledge. And for this, there is a standard process. Like Prabhupada was saying, in Vedas, there is a section where you can do atonement in this way. If you have committed this type of mistake, do this type of atonement, and that's called prayaschita. Then the reactions, sinful reactions will be washed away. It's there in Vedas, but even in Nectar of Instruction number 1. And in Nectar of Instruction further says, thus real prayaschita or atonement is the awakening of our dormant Krishna consciousness. So that is Nectar of Instruction number 1. Now here, I wanted to wrap up with one pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam, because without pastime we cannot understand the principle behind the whole of 9.31. So, and what are we trying to say here is that accidental for some versus intentional, not intentional. Accidental fall down because of mistakes is pardonable, and Krishna says, "Oh Arjuna, name bhaktya pranasati." Declare it boldly, that this person will never perish. Such an authentic and such a comforting verse for us, that if we are engaged in devotional service and if we commit accidental fall down mistakes, then it's pardonable. And that's not me saying, Krishna saying to Arjuna. So we all know that, Vaivasvata Manu, who is called Shraddha Deva. Now this pastime is from Srimad Bhagavatam 9.2.1 onwards up to 13-14 verses. So there are 13 to 14 verses, 9th canto, 2nd chapter, verse number 1 to 13 or 14. So it says that Vaivasvata Manu, who is also known, another name of Vaivasvata Manu is Shraddha Deva. His elder son went away.
Can you repeat that name?
Vaivasvata Manu.
No.
Shraddha Deva. Shraddha Deva, he is another name. He is also known as Shraddha Deva. In fact, Satya Rupa, he came as a Vaivasutta Manu. The previous Satya Rupa in the Bali Maharaj. Anyway, so we will not go there. But Vaivasutta Manu Shraddha Deva, he had one son, elder son, and he went to forest for Vanaprastha, so now he had desire for other sons. So he started worshipping Supreme Personality of God, and surely 10 sons were born to Vaivasutta Manu. And out of 10 sons, eldest was who? Who was the eldest son of Vaivasutta Manu? Bhagavad Gita 4.1. Haribol. No. Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku. So Ikshvaku was the eldest among the 10 sons. Okay? Out of these 10 sons, there was one more son called Prasadra. His name is Prasadra. Prasadhra. Prasadra. So Prasadra is the son of Vaivasutta Manu. And he was given, by his spiritual master, he was given a duty to be on guard for cows. His spiritual master. Whose spiritual master? Prasadra. Prasadra's spiritual master. And it was given the duty to guard cows. And he was performing this duty very well. So day and night, he had the sword and he was protecting cows because there were a lot of tigers coming from forest. One night, it was a deadly night. It was raining heavily. The stars were covered with clouds. Cats and dogs, it was raining. Pitch dark. And one tiger entered the cowshed. As soon as the tiger entered the cowshed, cows naturally ran away. They were screaming. They just here and there they were running away. So Prasadra heard the noise of cows screaming away. Now it's pitch dark, he cannot see anything. He took the sword and he went into the direction of the screaming, the sound. Prasadra went into the direction of the sound where the screaming of cows were coming. And he slashed his sword, thinking that this is the tiger. Next day morning, of course, he on that night, only the ear of the tiger chopped off, and tiger got scared and he fled away into the street, bleeding profusely. That's what Bhagavatam says. Next day morning, when it was light, what Prasadra is finding? Unfortunately, instead of lion, he killed a cow. Now that is most abominable act. He killed a cow, but was it intentional or was it accidental? Accidental. Why? Because it was pitch dark. He was doing his duty. It was raining. Stars were covered with a cloud. And he did his duty. And then he went into the direction of the sound where cows were screaming and he slashed his sword. Unfortunately, cows he found chopped off in the morning. And also the ear of tiger was also there, but tiger fled away. Now, he approached his Guru Maharaj, Vasishtha Muni, said, what should I do? Guru says, what? You killed a cow? That is most abominable. Vasishtha Muni cursed. Who? Prasadra. He cursed that, may you become Sudra next year. Next Janma, you will not be becoming Kshatriya. You will become Sudra. These all there in 9.2.3, 4, 5. I have got all the purports, but for want of time, I will not read the purports. I'm just saying. So, translations are there. So, Prasadra got the curse. And what Parikshit Maharaj did when he was cursed by Sringi Rishi, what did he do? He accepted. Prasadra with folded hands. With due respect to his Guru Maharaj Vasishtha Muni, he accepted the curse and continued doing his devotional service because Prasadra was following very firmly the instructions of his Guru Maharaj to do devotional service. So he was on the path of devotional service, but this was an accidental mistake. And he was cursed and he accepted the curse with folded hands without saying any word that so be it. But what did he continue to do? Devotional service. He did not move away from his path of rendering devotional service, and that is the essence of 9.31. That if a person, and what happened to Prasadra? Prasadra was liberated. Why? Because although he did abominable act of killing a cow, but that was accidental, and that too in this process of performing his duties, he is killing the cow, trying to protect the cow, but because it was pitch dark, accidental. And Prabhupada says, not Prabhupada, even Krishna says in this sloka, that person, Kshipram Bhavati Dharmatma, that person who has performed accidental, who has suffered accidental fall down due to accidental mistake, Kshipram, very soon, Bhavati, become Dharmatma, he will become righteous. He will become righteous. Why? Because Sasvat Chanti Nigacchati, he will attain even lasting peace. Kauntaya Pratijanihi Name Bhakta Pranasyati. That person will never perish. This is Krishna saying, and that gives us a lot of consolation. Prabhu's and Mataji, when I was reading this, I said, wow, I was jumping. I said, wow, that doesn't mean, Prabhupada says, this should not be misunderstood. And in fact, that is what he says, that doesn't mean that one get license to, because it is one of the offense, the 10 name offenses, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. It doesn't give license. But accidental fall down by a devotee is pardonable, provided the devotee does not repeat that mistake again. And that is what Radhanath Swami Maharaj says. A mistake is not a mistake if it is not committed twice. That's what, and that is where 9.31 says that you are pardoned provided you continue with devotional service, and you will be relieved. You will not be perished. Kauntaya pratijani name bhaktya pras name bhaktya. Bhaktya is the word used. My bhakta will never perish. Why? Because he is constantly engaged in the devotional service. Prabhu's and Mataji's, what is in it for me? What is our take home? Our take home is, we commit so many mistakes in our life. So many. Every single day something, some minor, some major, we commit mistakes. And we are bound to, because there is three modes of material nature acting on all of us. That doesn't mean that we do it intentionally. We might be doing accidentally, but we should not be giving up the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra or rendering devotional service or whatever we are reading, associating with devotees, reading Bhagavatam, reading scriptures, performing Archana. We should not be giving up this process. That will save us. Otherwise, there is no other way. There is no other way, no other way, no other way. Now, there is one more thing. I will still take up that one. So I wanted to take the essence of 9.31. Now try to pay attention to understand this very clearly. So I will give an example. There are two devotees, for example, Krishna Dasa and Gauranga Dasa. Example, I know, 2 minutes probably. Just last example. Krishna Dasa and Gauranga Dasa. So Krishna Dasa, both are friends and both are engaged in devotional service. Both are fast friends. Krishna Dasa accidentally commits abominable action. Accidentally. The whole of congregation or everyone is thinking, oh, this Krishna Dasa, look at dhoti, kurta, tilak, kanti mala. Everybody is criticizing. Oh, he is doing this in mistake. Yeah, this is wrong. People are criticizing. Everyone is criticizing Krishna Dasa except one person, which is Gauranga Dasa. Gauranga Dasa never ever criticized, because he knows that it's not Krishna Dasa, it is the three modes of material nature acting. And who is immune to three modes of material nature? No one is immune. So far as we have got this material body, we will be subject to the three modes of material nature, whether you like it or not. Every single day in the morning you are in Brahma, in the goodness, mode of goodness, then in the afternoon, evening, mode of passion, evening, night, you are mode of ignorance, and permutation, combination thereof constantly happening. And this will happen so far as we have got material body. Spirit soul is engaged in material body. we are liable to commit mistakes because not intentional, accidental. Why? Three modes of material nature will force you to do that. And therefore, but that doesn't mean that we are not on guard. We have to be on guard not to do that. But still, if it is happening, continue practicing your devotional service. So, in this case, Gauranga Dasa did not criticize Krishna Dasa. Now, 9.31 applies to Krishna Dasa, accidental fall down. He continued his devotional service, and therefore Krishna says, Kaunteya pratijani name bhaktya paransa. Krishna Dasa will never perish because he is a bhakta. What will happen to Gauranga Dasa? Gauranga Dasa will be liberated because he didn't criticize the biggest Hathi Mata last week. The biggest aparadha, the abominable act is to criticize a Vaishnava. Vaishnava aparadha. Even Krishna doesn't pardon. We know Ambarish Maharaj. We have got lack of time. We know Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. The Sudarshan Chakra did not leave Durvasa Muni until the time he falls flat at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj. Why? Because only that devotee, Krishna, Vishnu, Mahesh, nobody came in. So you go to the person to whom you offended, fall at the feet, beg forgiveness. If he or she forgives you, then you are okay. Otherwise, you will be stepped down from the bhakti. For sure, you will be stepped down. So, in this, but those other people who are criticizing, they have to come back again. Punarti Jananam, Punarti Maranam, etc. Because they have been criticized. Oh, this dhoti kurta, tilak, what is he doing? Abominable. But they don't know that it is accidental. It's not intentional. And that is the essence of the whole 9.31, that we continue rendering devotional service. Then accidental fall down, accidental mistakes, which are kind of forced by the three modes of material nature, will be pardoned. And name bhaktya pranashyati, kaunteya pratijani, name bhaktya. That bhakta, Krishna says, will never ever perish. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please forgive me if there is any shortcoming or drawbacks. And if there is any point which you liked out of this, that credit goes to Guru Maharaj and our Acharya Vargas, Prabhupada. So, but if there is any tuti or mistakes, then that's purely my lack of understanding. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.